Complex systems are organized as core periphery networks to help the development of efficient responses. The network core is a densely connected central region of the network, while the periphery is sparsely connected and preferentially connected to the core. Which is wiser, the core or the periphery? Which gives us better decisions? This actually depends on the circumstances. If there is a usual information which comes from the environment, then the core is responding. The opinion leaders of the core are having the same opinion, which is spreading in the core and actually developing a very fast and efficient response of the whole network. The situation is completely different if there is an unusual, new situation. Then the opinion leaders in the core disagree. The response which is developed is spreading all around the network, and the periphery nodes are participating in the development of the final response. Most of the time, this response, if the situation is repeated, is developing a novel attractor of the whole complex system. This new response, this creative response, is usually slow, but it is very efficiently finding the optimal response of the system. Such a mechanism is a general mechanism of all biological systems. One can observe this mechanism in proteins. Protein structures have a core of hydrophobic amino acids and the periphery of disorganized regions. These disorganized segments help the protein to develop a response when there is an unusual stimulus coming from the environment. If we expand the system to a whole cell, then the whole cell is helping the response by epigenetic memory. Epigenetic memory is opening DNA and enabling the DNA to have a much efficient transcription of various genes when the response is repeated. When epigenetic memory forms, then the cell is becoming much more efficient in its response. Finally, neuronal systems, brains, have also such a duality in their response. When there is a known situation, then only a few neurons are becoming active, and they are helping to recruit the memory of the past efficient response. However, if there is a novel situation, then thousands, if not hundred thousands of neurons are becoming active, and they are bombarding the central neural system like the hippocampus with different opinions, with different solutions, and the brain is developing the response afterwards. This whole situation is resembling to Daniel Kahneman's concept about fast and slow thinking. Fast thinking is required when someone experiences a usual situation. Then we have our kind of reflexes, instincts, and we obviously know the answer, which is a very fast response. However, we require a contemplative, slow thinking when we experience a completely novel situation, and this has been described by Daniel Kahneman in his book. In the concept of the innovation diffusions, innovation is often coming from the periphery. The periphery is often more creative than the core because peripheral members, peripheral network nodes, are not bound by social conventions, and they are not wanting to maintain the status quo as the core members. This periphery innovation is not only a property of social networks, but it is also general in all biological systems. Several mechanisms help the periphery creativity. Rechanneling the information flow by connecting distant regions of the periphery in the networks helps a lot to develop new processes. Core remodeling, when peripheral nodes enter to the core, is also a helpful mechanism. And reconfiguration of loops, feedback, forward feedbacks or backward feedbacks are also very helpful mechanisms. The core periphery learning mechanisms helps us to understand better signaling and decision-making techniques, And moreover, this hypothesis may help us to construct novel methodologies, novel technologies in intelligence, artificial intelligence, internet, and drug design. The generality of the core periphery learning hypothesis is showing that deliberative democracy is not only a moral stance, but it is an evolutionary developed optimal response in unusual situations. The 21st century is full of unexpected situations. This paper warns us that we have to maintain and develop a much larger effort to mobilize the hidden wisdom of the community and to help talented young people to develop their deep thinking to solve these problems.